What's up everyone, Andrew Bain here, and on today's video we're going to be taking a look at the Jason Richardson 6-string signature model from Sterling by Music Man. That's kind of a mouthful, but this guitar is awesome and you're going to really like how it sounds, I think. So what I like to do on my channel is show what the guitar sounds like in a full demo mix first and foremost, and then we're going to come back, talk about the specs and features of the instrument, show off some soloed tone clips, and last but not least, give you some thoughts of mine on the guitar. So with that being said, let's hear what the Jason Richardson 6-string sounds like in a full demo mix. Okay, so now that you've heard how the guitar sounds in a full demo mix, let's talk about the specs and features of this instrument. So like I mentioned in the beginning, this is the signature model from Jason Richardson, who is an infamous guitarist for his solo projects. His solo music is absolutely insane, and obviously I can't even come close to playing it, so I didn't even try. He also currently plays for a band called All That Remains. So Jason Richardson has been with Sterling and Ernie Ball Music Man for a couple of years now, and this model has been available since 2020, I think. But this is the new one for 2022 because the finish has never been done before by Sterling. So this is the Cosmic Purple Satin finish. And as you can see, one of the most striking visual features of this guitar is the poplar burl maple top, which looks just incredible, especially on the one that they sent over to me. This model is also based off of Sterling's Cutlass design with a slight modification. As you can see on this camera here, the lower horn actually has a contour, which gives you a little bit more fret access. For people like me that barely play leads, I don't really notice a difference, but I'm sure if you're a shredder, that can make all the difference in your speed abilities. So moving on to the rest of the specs of this guitar, the body is made out of alder. You can kind of see that a little bit better on the back there. And it has a rosewood fretboard with a roasted maple neck, which looks absolutely gorgeous. Locking tuners up there, which are Sterling's own design. As for electronics, we have Sterling's own pickups made in collaboration with Jason Richardson. I'm not sure what they changed about these, but these sound way better than I remember them sounding on the 7-string version I had back in 2020. I don't know if they've revised them or maybe they just sound a little bit better to me, voiced for 6-string tunings. One way or another, these sound a lot better than I remember them sounding. And then going back to electronics real quick, we also have a tone, volume, and a 3-way pickup selector. In addition to that, these two knobs are also push-push, so as you can see there. So if you push the tone knob, it switches coil split on or off, and if you push the volume knob, it basically gives you a 12 decibel boost, which is really useful if you're playing a guitar solo and you want a little extra gain. So that's all for the specs of this guitar. Next up, I'm just going to play some soloed tone clips so you can hear how the guitar sounds by itself. Let's hear how that sounds. Okay, and last but not least, I want to give you some of my thoughts and impressions on this guitar. First and foremost, as always, keep in mind that this video is sponsored by Sterling. I try not to let that affect my opinion, but it always might in some way, shape, or form, because it's not quite the same as going out and spending my own money on it. So keep that in mind, but I'll try and be as honest as possible, like always. So like I was kind of mentioning when I was talking about the pickups especially, I don't know what Sterling has been doing recently, but they just seem to keep upping their quality more and more every time they send me something new. I noticed it last year with this red guy over here. I noticed that it sounded and felt a lot better than the 2020 model. And again, with this one, I feel like they've also made a big improvement over the Richardson 7-string I had a couple years ago. Just everything about it just feels a little bit better. Everything feels a little tighter, a little smoother, just looks a little nicer. This top looks way better than the old tops looked, in my opinion. And again, like I was saying, the pickups also sound a little bit better to my ear. Again, not sure if they revised their pickup design or maybe they just sound better in a higher tuning. I'm not really sure. As for the overall feel of the guitar, there's really nothing that stands out as feeling off to me. There's no sharp fret ends or anything like that, which is always nice and what you would expect for a guitar at this price range, so that's always good to see. As for the actual finish, I don't personally notice any flaws on the finish, like any paint chips or anything like that. Even on the fretboard, I'm not really seeing any kind of scratches or tool marks, which you can sometimes see on guitars that are made in factories in Indonesia or something like that. They do have a tendency to have a little bit of tool markings on them, but for this one in particular, I'm not really seeing any of that. The only critique that I would have is something that I've consistently had with other Sterling models, where, in my opinion, their bridge is a little bit looser than I would like. If you're using the whammy bar on this guitar pretty heavily, I think it probably will go slightly out of tune every song, so you will have to tune it up here and there. And that's kind of to be expected because, again, it doesn't have a locking nut on the headstock, which would maybe help with that a little bit, but I know Music Man doesn't do that for anything, and neither does Sterling, so fair enough. For people like me who don't really play leads and don't really use the whammy bar, it doesn't really matter because I've just never touched that anyways. As you can see, it's not even in the guitar currently, and it wasn't at any point during this demo because I just personally don't use it. But if you like to use the whammy bar a lot, just keep in mind you might need to be tuning and retuning a little bit more frequently than you might like, is all. Okay, so that's pretty much going to do it for this video. Once again, a big thank you to Sterling for sending this guitar over to me. They've been a supporter of my channel for a long time. As you can see, got that blood orange in the back, still there because it's so good. And this one is just as good, and I love to see that. So yeah, big thank you to Sterling by Music Man and my dude Jakob over there for sending this one over. Always looking forward to checking out new guitars from Sterling, and I'm very curious to see if they're releasing anything soon around like this kind of weird summer NAMM situation we have happening right now. If you're interested in learning more about this guitar, the link to it is going to be in the pinned comment and the description below. Also, if you're interested in audio downloads, guitar tabs, stems, or a shout out on the screen, you can find all of that over on my Patreon page. And of course, I want to give a big thank you to all my Patreon members whose names are on the screen right now. That's all I gotta say. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.